to turn it around, that's a player that I'm going to be watching. Watch him around that stage 3, stage 4 marker and see if he can turn it into a W.
All right, guys, ready yourselves. This will be the final game of the Super Brawl. All 9 regions fought through the qualifiers and through 3 rounds of play to make it to this point. Now anybody can take the crown.
I want to hear your thoughts, guys. Though, give me one name. I want one name from the two of you. Matt, start.
You know what my name's gonna be.
Yeah, I want to be really biased here and say Noerum, but I'm thinking really hard. Come back to me. Come back to me.
How long should we wait, Matt?
Just give me like 15 seconds.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 15 minutes. Okay, that's a bit more reasonable.
Give me until the end of the game when I can see who's won, and then I'll give you my prediction.
That's the best kind of prediction.
I was right all along, all minutes ago.
You see, what you do is you write it down on a piece of paper, and then in the post-show, you pick it up and show the camera and say, yep, I had it right, and then you just drop the other piece of the paper out your sleeve.
What do you know is that Matt just like writes down 8 notes just separately, like even like kind of just like has like a secret note with like Balotelli or something. Wait, okay.
Surprise!
Should we talk about the game for a second? Actually,
I suppose.
That's for Stana, Jinx, and Tom can't shove. Okay, fair enough. Calm down, dude.
Not gonna opt into it.
I mean, you say that right now. Just waiting for the final bit of gold becoming, because like the Jinx plus Tom Kench combination is just so strong due to the early prowess of the Rebel. It could be a case where he's not, where they are not going to pick up the Jinx, I suppose. Right? That is an option that is available as well, depending on the gold here. Never mind, Jinx gets picked up. Maintains the Sejuani pair as well, which is one of those really good pairs to have in the early game here as well. And remember, this is about winning the game. Goes for metabolic accelerated.
I mean, that is definitely one of our tournament favorite picks. You know, we've talked about it again and again over so many different tournaments, just the kind of play it unlocks, that kind of certainty you've got there, that even if you do take the L's, you recover it, as we also have our Mirage.
Not a high prior one.
Be pretty good.
I didn't think this was possible.
These are some options.
I didn't think you
These are some rerolls.
Calculus. I mean, they are. There's 3 possible rerolls here. Decides to go with the leftmost one.
Do you think that was the decision maker there? Like, any, meeny, money, let's get that one.
Just goes to random.org, picks a number between 1 through 3, and then, okay, got 1, bang, move on.
All right, we see brubbba lurking in the top left of your screen, the face of concentration. They've got themselves a pretty solid early board, to say. They've got a spatula as well to build towards something spicy later on.
I was going to say, look at those items. Those are some best-in-slot items for a lot of units available on the board. You can go for either a Rage Blade or a Giant Slayer, 2 of the best offensive items in the game. So I'm wondering what brubbba's going to be looking for as he goes later. I mean, could be perfect for a Varus, just saying.
By that point, what do you really want to do with the spatula? I assume that you could go Mage Cap, I suppose, but that's about it.
I was wondering, because you guys are talking about we're going to need to see an incredibly high cap game here. Maybe this move from brubbba is, it's unlikely to find another spatula and get a Tactician's Crown, but if you do, that's a path which could take you to first.
This is an angle, by the way. I just want to highlight that for a second. Just that, like Olaf Diana in the shop here with an open spatula could be. Yeah. Could be an angle. brubbba deciding against it though, does not want to go down this route, it seems.
Good items for it too, I feel.
Yeah, that is very surprising. We get to King the Shooter though and see that they have gone for an augment that's also going to be paying off a little later in the game. Preparation should let them put out some very, very strong units, just not immediately.
Preparation value is going to be off the wall here later down, further on the road. We saw like how much that impact that can have. We saw that just the game gone right now. It's even just preparation 1 here. That's a Tristana at least, so that would be Cannoneer instead of the Warrior on the board. I'm trying to figure out here why you want to go entirely back, because this position is kind of a bit of a... It's one that makes you dizzy, right? Because you're looking at that, you have a random Nunu on the bench, and then you're looking at...
Falsus committed.
This is something, I think the real term for this is wogage. I think that's a wogage moment. you know, Coldman's staff is incredible on volleyball because the way the lightning works ends up like kind of spreading out quite significantly. Well, Sweller has a pretty good trade sector open as well. We've seen a lot of trade sectors this weekend, guys.
Yeah. I've been really surprised as well because there aren't a whole lot of reroll compositions in the meta at the moment. Like, the only thing that you're really rolling 3-star for is you're going to be looking at that Varus composition and you're going to be looking at the Scale Scorn composition. But we've seen it used differently than I would traditionally think of Trade Sector being used. Because to me, the most logical opener for it, right? You roll on every turn, you're looking for a reroll composition, it gives you an extra free roll. But we've seen players using it to just get an extra roll at higher levels and have a better chance of capping out their compositions the way they want, faster.
It also just helps you play stronger sport. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah.
I was saying, I mean, that's the other use case for it, isn't it? You don't need the money for rerolling if you've got that free reroll coming in every time, but it's certainly a longer term investment. You know, until you get to that point, you're not really using the rerolls for too much of anything.
Lulu being left open here. Cloak as well, not the highest of priority items, I suppose, but even then. Deisik here going for a bit of a different strategy we see for some players sometimes. He's an Astral, so he's trying to spike those Astral units in as of right now, just to get some more power level. Very often we see people sitting on some impactful pairs. You will see them rolling during stage 2, just to try to maintain that streak if that's going to be their priority. We see that's going to be the name of the game here for Deisik. He's still going to be above 10, so economically speaking, he's still going to be in a pretty good spot here. Hits his upgrades and gets out again.
We've certainly seen Deisik go to Mage fairly consistently, where many other players have not chosen to do so. So we'll see if that happens here. The board is certainly pretty tanky, but lacking somewhat in the damage department, and that Ashe from Noerum is going to be able to cut through the HP of the Bruisers pretty well.
Well, if the volley lands on them, so far she's aiming at the furthest one, and it didn't land. Finally, we get one on the entire board, but I think it's too little too late here for Noerum's board, and Deisik will save his win streak. Looking pretty strong going into PvE.
Worth noting here, Brubba in his pool, right? Like Brubba, 100 streaking is pointed out here, Peter.
True.
Yeah, we'll see if we can check out what they're doing up. So they've actually have gone for Mage already. Maybe that's going to give our friend Volta some pause.
So
because there's got to be like Mage Trainer, right? That's the only real use we've seen of the Mage Spatula, unless you want to go maybe into the traditional like Cannoneer with Sona.
We've seen that today as well, right? We've seen the AO Shin angles, we've seen a lot of different angles here. This can really depend on what type of components gets dropped down here on the Crocs, right? Because you're looking at double sword right now, you're looking at something like Giant Slayer plus Gunblade, could be Corky items, you're looking at Rageblade, also a Corky item. You could end up getting hit with another tier, so you're looking at like Rageblade Shojin, then you're starting to think about the good old-fashioned AO Shin compositions, right? There are so many options right now to go from this position. The main thing here for Brubba is to ensure that he does not get Deisik.
Yeah, the big thing for Brubba here as well is they're on a 4-round win streak, and they've got 4 items on the bench. They're relying entirely on the units advantage they got from being level 5, and I think it's going to cost them a whole ton of money.
It's not the end of the world here. This is not a streak that you're expecting to keep at any point in time, right? He's not invested into it by any stretch of the imagination either. Just another thing to keep in mind here. Like, yes, he would have preferred to be on a 5 streak, but probably not realistic and not feasible, but he's going to be pretty happy about his position regardless.
Now, pushing into this PvE round, we still have Deisik on this win streak with an open spatula. We talked a little bit earlier about the potential for an open spatula. If you really want to bet, if you really want to go into the later stages of the game and hope, you could leave it open the entire game and depend on getting another spatula to get the highest cap possible with that Tactician's Crown.
Yeah, as I said, the possibility still remains. We are going to, of course, be seeing our players playing at the very bleeding edge of what they're capable of doing. As we'll note as well from Volta, who's also on a win streak along with Deisik. Guys noted, we've got the Assassin Volley Bear with the Gold Monsters stuff. Every round that they're winning is a ton of extra money in the bank. We're up to Shimmer Scale 5.
Diamond Hands as well.
Yeah, but the thing is here, Diamond Hands does not really add any additional power level to your board, the term investor itself, right? So for Volta to get the value, we saw this from Deisik earlier on today as well, where he played the Diamond Hand, the investor to get the 10 gold and duplicate, and then just removed and just stopped playing it throughout the entirety of the game. That is also just the way you can get that, because like getting a champion duplicator on like just like being able to order it right, like it's so massive as well.
See how long this ends up staying in place, Volta. Yeah, as we see, every time that Volibear gets through these backline units, a chance of dropping some extra gold to accelerate things further. And from where you guys are talking, it does sound like there's a good chance we might see Volta diverge away from this path before sooner or later, rather than going down the kind of long-term Shimmer Scale route.
Got another player here looking towards that Shimmer Scale angle from the side of Juso. Or rather, Skarambez. A couple of options here.
Both different. Oh. It's always scary to lean into this right now, Peter.
I really don't like it. Looking at the records of the people who play Built Different, it's been average at best. I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but we won't be seeing it this game, or at least from that particular player. Maybe we'll see it from somewhere else. Of course, we won't get to see it in a future game, because this is our last game.
Worth noting with Skarambez here, right? He does have a slammed Shimmer Scale emblem, but he does also have the salvage bin here, right? So he is by no stretch of the imagination forced to keep this Shimmer Scale emblem in play for the rest of the game here. Okay, Deisik goes for the thrill of the hunt. We talked about this run-of-the-mill, fantastically strong combat Augment for this point in the game.
Uh-oh. Is that the most terrifying unit in TFT slammed in to give us 3 mage and keep the streak going, man?
Now it's going to be running into brubbba's composition. We've seen this before. We were talking about the options that brubbba has with his board. Now with the Spear of Shojin on that Jinx, not going to be doing a whole lot of damage just yet, but setting up great for the later stages of the game. And with Namzi to back her up, it looks like it may just be enough to take this one ever closer to a win.
And a big thing here as well. Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
I know you guys were talking pretty heavily about Sona. Mage Sona in particular as being a really incredible unit. Presumably, that's where we're seeing brubbba going.
It could be, but again, this could also just be this, like, just playing the strongest bot you can into an Aoshin situation. The big thing here I was looking at his components, is that he is currently struggling for defensive components. He does not have a single defensive component. And those are so important in terms of just being able to stabilize your boards here. So you're looking at the boards and then you're looking at silos and stuff like that, but you need to have defensive items on the silos to just have to buy the time, because you'll see how much work this Jinx 2 was able to do in these fights. Whereas you can say Deisik, on the opposite side of things, has kind of like a lot of flex items here right now. Second round of augments, guys. Anything that really stood out to you there?
I think the big one for me is still just the thrill of the hunt here for Deisik to preserve this streak. With the extra economy he's going to be able to establish, he's already 50 gold, level 6, with that 7 streak. If he's able to maintain it through this carousel, he will be in the strongest position across all of the boards, except maybe Voltariux. We don't know how well he's doing, but can't really beat the full streak.
Volta is level 7 right now. He's just chilling on an island right now, right? Like, he has been in such a strong position. The additional gold he's been getting from the Goldmaster staff has really helped elevate himself into a new position. Meanwhile, Skarambez, he needs to figure out something out sooner rather than later, right? Like, we're looking at a stage 3 carousel. You're looking at 39 HP. He does not have anything of the likes of a Soraka or like a Metabolic Accelerator or anything like that. He's required to find strong components to bring him back into the game.
That would be Bramble Vest, but not the ideal situation to be in at all. Skarambez, of course, like everybody else, in a position to win the tournament. But along with Darkest and the brubbba, they have to come in first if they're going to make it through almost certainly to regionals. There's so many more points on everybody else above them. 23 is the minimum for the top 5, who were, of course, qualified to try in the previous game. But still a huge mountain to climb as our levels start coming in, and Skarambez will try and put together a board that can turn things around.
Looking for those sire angles, it does look like, right, when you're looking at the items currently being put in place by the Kayn. Could even start looking for a core Kayn, but again, you're currently speaking, you're looking at the items there. There's 3 chambers as of right now here, so it feels like it was more of a unit priority pick, more so than an item priority pick, right? And that is kind of an issue when you already have Salvage Bin in play. You don't really care so much about those kind of situation with the components. You need the units more than anything else here. And Sweller, he has that Rocket Propelled Fist. I feel like it's the first one we've seen all throughout the weekend. Just gonna put a massive spend in the works for every single player in the lobby, because they need to position around this. It's so much more impactful than a Fresher.
Yeah, it's able to bring back the Blitzcrank of yore and just misposition all of your carries. It's similar to Assassin, where it forces you to position around it. And it looks like Skarambez's last-minute slam on that Titan's Resolve paid dividends for him. Oh no! Never mind. Sejuani will take it out.
To be fair, though, that could have... No, that was the best loss they could have possibly gotten there.
I just don't know what you do in the later stages of the game when you slam down a Shimmer Scale spat early on. Oh, you sell it.
Play items.
There you go. That's the answer, guys. I found out.
Oh, so we've discovered all we need to do is ask the game, and the game will answer us.
Exactly. Direct line to the players.
Fully prepared Volibear here as well, but it's a Volibear 1. He is still winning, though. That's the big thing to note right now. The second you start losing, he's probably going to have to be in a bit of a panic spot.
I will see how that does. So yeah, no attack speed at all there, but we've got the few extra stats. So they'll be able to hit a little bit harder. Will require the round to go a little bit longer, as brubbba has got a huge mage backline. That rise is going to be a menace as time goes on. Right now, just with the Archangels, but surely will keep getting stronger. Gets blown up this time, though, and brubbba will have to settle for the L.
And the additional AP from the Goldmaster staff as well, right? With the gold currently being put into place, it's going to be a massive thing here as well. Yes, the Volibear is not going to be hitting that fast, but it's going to be hitting that much harder than pretty much anything else here. And this early Bard from Skarambez is going to help him kind of elevate his comp, try to find those higher level units at as a quicker notice here. We talked about this metabolic pick from Darkest earlier on. Curtis being leaves in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, that's about where you expect yourself to be if you're going win-loss. And here we do see Deisik. I was about to point it out, the full win streak has continued all the way into Wolves, but the composition he's been left with is not quite fully formed by any means.
No, we're still sat on that spatula waiting to see if we will end up in Tactician's Crown territory or find some use for it eventually. Got a good amount of defensive items coming in though, so that's at least something, but for Deisik, there's not actually a ton going on in the carry department.
Feels like all I can do is save HP at this point. These are some rough components.
I mean, they're just going to get him towards like a level 8 fast type situation of board, right? Just roll into whatever 8 cost you're going to find, whatever 10 cost you're going to be playing towards, right? He skipped at least one Dacia already, so we already know that is not going to be something that he's going to be focusing on. However, now 5 Shimmer Scale also going to be a vertical that we are going to see Skarambez work towards here. Finds the Zoe. Has 2 stacks on the Investor as of right now. The Zoe, again, not a carry unit in of herself, but can just give the composition so much time.
See how much time it gets. We've got the Corki being loaded up with all the damage and AP they can handle. It's just whether or not Idas can hold the front line.
Looks like it's going to be a little bit of a struggle here into this Volibear. Finally, the Volibear 2 has come out here on Noerum's side of the board.
A lot of Volibear being tossed around here. Skarambez not prioritizing getting the stacks either from the determined investor, just chilling it on the bench. So shows clear intention to not be continually running this 5 Shimmer Scale 1 would assume at least. Meanwhile, we can see Chuso's Volibear 2 has also been found handing Deisik his first loss of the game here. Final round of augments coming in.
Ooh, it will be gold across the board, so no prismatics to decide our Superbrawl. It's all gold. It's all these standard decisions these players have practiced again and again and again.
The 6 Dragonmancer is an interesting choice here.
This could be the Anivia angle as well. This is worth noting, right? With how contested Volibear is in the lobby as of right now, it's going to delay the spike of the Volibear by extension of that. And this is going to mean that we have, as I was talking about yesterday, I do believe, right? You have seen in Chinese servers that like Dragonmancer and Anivia in these legend compositions have been a thing now. Additionally, so it's also going to be the 6 Dragonmancer spike. As of right now, I do believe it's going to be the Volibear that's going to be kept in play because the Volibear is the stronger of the units in terms of just keeping that Dragonmancer up. But keep in mind, this transition could happen later down the road.
Yeah, Matt, of course, remember this one from before. The Anivia get punched in the face as a mana augmentation approach. It's going to work relatively well this time round, though. Of course, it does mean that both of your carries are caught up in a very small AoE. So when they're going to get stunned, they're all going to get stunned.
Yeah, I'm thinking as well, going into the later stages of the game, there was the opportunity to slam down a Shojin, but instead, I think it looks like Chuso is going to be waiting to try and get that Gunblade, keep using this positioning strategy for the mana, and try and sustain the Anivia's damage through healing.
That Quicksilver coming in clutch.
Skarambez's spot is so scary right now. Like, he has a Corki too, but again, there's a reason why we don't see a lot of Corki. The surrounding setup of this Corki in itself is not that strong, right? But the Corki too, you're looking at Obsidian Cleaver, you're looking at Last Whisper, you're looking at Rage Blade. Those items in and of themselves are not going to do a lot of damage. They're not going to help you chirp through some of that massive volley bear action, but the surrounding cast needs to be strong enough to utilize that resistance shred coming through.
And we're having it confirmed. Just a small note on Skarambez. If they get knocked out, then they're out of contention for sure. They're one of our players who needs a first to be able to have any chance of getting through to the regional finals.
Rage Spat from brubbba has come down. Meanwhile, beautiful Bard out from the backline of Skarambez. And Corki fires away, takes down so many units. Skarambez, it looks like, will survive for just another round.
The KO bubble!
Yeah. It's probably the most troll ability in the entire game. Oh, it drives me mad, it does.
It also drives Skarambez closer to staying alive in this game. So that is, big things so far. At least keeping a note of your solar power potentially on offer as well. Keep that in mind.
And no spatulas coming through for any of our determined investors to try and get that Tactician's Crown. Small note, of course, on our scoreboard right now. Volta, of course, who was winning early on, has resumed their winning ways. Of course, the Chuso propping up the middle of the table, providing some pressure down there towards the bottom as well.
There is the option. Look, it's a long shot, but there still is the option to get a spatula off the Treasure Dragon. So the dream's not quite dead.
That's not okay. I was sort of like, that's so too, and then I realized we were on Noerum's perspective and not on Skarambez's perspective. That's pretty
it's tragic.
I will put it to you guys, with regard to, Matt, what you're just saying there. If you've got one spatula, how much gold would you pay to get a second?
I think, like, at least 30.
Are we doing deal or no deal right now, Peter? Or?
Yes, we are.
I think we've wandered into an American game show. When I wasn't looking.
If the price is right, then the spatula is yours.
All right. Adonivia was pumping out some insane numbers. The Volibear will finish the job. I don't know if Noerum has the health to support this loss. Just barely. 5 HP.
Oh boy.
With a full Jade setup as well, when you look at the Augment, right, starting to find that GOU to keep him in the game. You're looking at Penitence, you're looking at Eternal Protection, sorry, and you're looking at Jade Heart. Like, this is going to be such a massive struggle for him if he can't find just a singular GOU.
There's one.
That is a singular GOU, that's what the doctor ordered. But
still not enough, though. I can't say.
I mean, what do you want from the game, really? We ask and it delivers. It's been very good to us in that respect.
It's going to be a struggle here against these boards because Noerum's board is nowhere near complete at this point. I don't know if even a GOU 2 can compete with the rest of the boards around him.
Let's see who's up to bat next.
He's on a Night Jade.
It's Volta. Volta has broken their winning streak, but keep your eye out for that bear on the back line. Anivia will be in peril. The Cane should have re-rolled that Cane sooner, but it's enough to put down Anivia to very low indeed. The front line of the island stays intact as GOU pounds on the walls of the defenses. Volibear is still up and fighting, but I think this one is going to be going against our Shimmer Scale friends, and Volta will have to settle for a second L.
It's worth noting, Volta's cap this game is beyond insane, right? Like, you're looking at double duplicator on the bench, looking at the Sire pair being held, you're looking at above 50 gold. Like, right now, the world is the oyster for Volta. Like, quite simply, he can do whatever he pleases to try to figure out a way to win this game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there's one player who will not be getting any oysters today. Skarambez is our first elimination and will officially not be going to the EMEA regions, at least as a result of this particular competition.
I also think that Skarambez, again, just like a quick eulogy here for his tournament run. Like, he's been such a good player all throughout the entirety of the set, right? We've heard players talk about him being one of the most improved players throughout the entire set as well, right? Like, that is no small feat to be claiming that type of title. Again, not ideal that you are not going to be getting one of those spots. You're not going to take home the title, but again, has just proved what a strong player he is in terms of pedigree here. And Sweller running it back with a class we saw on day number 2 here, right? With the Guild Olaf.
I love this setup here. We've seen our players show so many different ways to get this Olaf comp working. And this is what, as we say farewell to set 7, we at least, we continue to be impressed by how many different ways our players get to use the same material to surprise us.
I will say, though, this setup is pretty suboptimal because you're not going to be able to hit that Olaf 3 for a long time, if ever, at this point. So, Sweller working with borrowed time.
They go up against, our friend Mage Aoshin, and we know how that one goes.
Yeah, borrowed time, though. Noerum has found that Shioyu too now, but again, we know the power level of this Mage Aoshin you're talking about, Peter, and there's no Mystic in play for Noerum. This could be the game, and it could be the end for him.
Here comes the lightning, here comes the thunder, tearing through, but Shioyu stands, one more cast, and she falls! Noerum is down and out of here!
Deisik now on that 1-win streak. Was in fact his Aoshin that we were seeing has rolled down quite considerably in order to get to that point, but seems to have stabilized. Is now 74 HP, can pretty safely wait for that Aoshin too.
Also has Jewel Lotus here. Well, Chuzo hits the freestyle Lee Sin, which is... this is not the priority.
Cool.
I mean, it is cool, but...
5?
To a certain extent, right? Like, you gotta ask yourself, is this worth it to hit, right? It's not one of your power units. You're not gonna itemize it. It's not gonna be a primary Dragonmancer holder. It is gonna give you a little bit of extra power from the Dragonmancer itself, but it is not necessarily going to be the game-deciding factor. And meanwhile, I was talking about the world being the oyster for Volta. Well, that's a 2-star Shyvana with Assassin and an Infinity Edge.
I'm a little worried, though. The last time we saw an Assassin Shyvana, that comp went last. So I'm reserving judgment. At least in this round it gets the job done, but... oh boy. I don't know if target access is necessarily a problem for Shyvana.
I mean, it's more so the fact that the ability crits, right? Like, it's kind of makeshift in the fact that, like, it's not quite Jewel Lotus, but it does mean your abilities can crit here. Brubbba, Chuzo, 25 HP right now. They gotta figure something out to stay in this game.
Check in with Darkest. We haven't seen them for a while. Of course, we are in the land of the legends as Darkest looks to make themselves a legend in their own time. They are one of the players, along with, well, Skarambez and brubbba, of course, with Skarambez already eliminated. Darkest, we were saying before, needs to hit first in this game. There is a really small window opportunity where they could come high enough and other players low enough that they could get through anyway, but that's the surest path right now. They've got a decent amount of HP to play with.
This is fascinating. The Cavalier Anivia frontline is actually working pretty well, believe it or not.
It's a double Volibear like composition contest as well, right? Like, it's about to get grisly in here because, like, neither of these players can really hit the freestyle until the other one goes missing here to a certain extent, right? You'd back Chuzo to be the one in the best position, but again, he's still level 7, has a lot of gold. Meanwhile, Darkest has kind of taken, he's paid the price. He's gotten to level 8, said, you know what, I'm not going to peak and I'm not going to hit the freestyles. I'm just going to play until my players around me are starting to fall like flies. But again, so many different things here on this carousel.
Oh my gosh, yeah, pretty decent carousel, even if it's plagued with a few too many emblems for my personal liking, with 2 of our players out that will reduce the effect. But, oh boy, I mean, guys, I'm really impressed by what we're seeing from the Volibear, even if it is only a temporary addition.
Yeah, it's surprising as well, because they're both 2-star, both of those Volibear carries, and it looks like Chuzo deciding to roll down fully this turn. Having rotten luck.
Ugh. I think the contested bear situation is not ideal, but maybe an Anivia 3-star?
You say maybe, but it doesn't look like the Anivia is going to be the one that saves him, so... That's fine, Ornn too. And Ornn, I mean, can we say that Ornn's horn is not kind of a wall, right? I was trying to, like, Wonder Wall. No, it didn't really work.
Yeah.
I actually got what you were going for there, weirdly enough.
I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
It's been a long day, it's been a long weekend. Please forgive us our small amusements, as we have got the potential elimination. The line here for this round goes badly enough. I do think, though, with such a huge hunk of frontline and the eventual, surely, Anivia get punching through the other. There's also probably the Dana. The shield comes up. And this round still keeps going to the end. Juso holds on, brubbba holds on as well.
We'll be deciding some of our victors in the next couple of rounds. Of course, Juso and brubbba both sitting below 20 HP as we're about to head into stage 6. Never a position you want to find yourself in, especially for Juso, who's rolling down now for 2 3-cost 3-stars, 2 away from the Anivia, and a deadly 4 away from the Volibear.
Important thing he needs to keep an eye out for here as well. Granted, he makes it through this fight. He needs to put this Anivia onto the bench during the next round.
And get that extra stack, but it's up against brubbba. One must stand, one will fall. Those mages are pumping out the firepower from the back line. We'll, of course, get the Bard knocking down everyone but the Volibear, who keeps on fighting. The damage is slowly creeping in. The backline carries are not being threatened, and that means that Juso is going to take the L. They are gone, and the mages are just too strong.
And that's heartbreak for Juso as well. He was ever so close. Second place in the last game, and he already was in with a shot of winning the entire tournament. Now he's going to be going out in 6th in this final game. Meanwhile, brubbba, he's looking at the Zoe in the shop as well. Has the 2-star option of that available in just a second. Gets the option here as well of putting this RFC onto the Zoe, meaning that he's going to get that cybernetic uplink value.
I assume he's just going to be waiting to see if he gets some gold from this PvE round to pay for that Zoe. Get a down payment there as Voltariux' board we see still rocking that Shyvana, now a 2-star. And in the back is going to be that Xayah. So a very traditional 6 Rage Wing composition here, trying to cap it out with just legendaries. And having some pretty good luck with the rolls so far.
The big thing here as well is going to be looking at the Xayah 3-stars, also an angle you need to keep an eye out for, Peter.
Also, I think you probably might honestly that we're being a little too down on the Xayah comp from before, but it has actually been very, very good across multiple days of competition. I think Volta's got a really strong shot.
He's got a bunch of 2-star 5-costs here. Running now into Deisik's board. Neither of them at risk of elimination at the moment, but it'll be a good check-in to see how powerful this board from Voltariux is. And especially with just a 1-star ASOL, Deisik doing surprisingly well, because it is Mage ASOL. Should be able to clean up this board pretty decently.
I don't know. Believe in the Xayah. Believe in it. I've been converted.
And this Baron now being perma-CC'd. Like, Mage Sona is so strong against Volibear. Granted, he can get the final cast off in time. Dark is now going down. SwellerTiger, the player everyone's eyes was on at the start of this tournament, the middle part of it, had such a strong start, now is also not going to be taking home the crown. We have our top 4 in the final game. Somehow Darkest and brubbba, the 2 players that had to slug it out, relying on either of them winning the last game to take this to checkmate for themselves, now in with a shot to take it all.
One last upgrade in. All Darkest needs to be able to, all Darkest can do right now is sit and wait for the hammer to fall. Volta and Deisik, they're both up on so much HP. brubbba will take up the gauntlet to try and survive another round.
Volta now going to be running directly into brubbba, holding those Aoshins on the bench, but out goes the ultimate from Aoshin. Xayah undeterred, unperturbed as the Shyvana continues to fire away, but the second Aoshin ult not enough, and brubbba will fall in 4th place.
The window of opportunity closes. There will be no miracles for brubbba. Let's see if Darkest suffers the same fate, and they will. Hope only took us so far, gentlemen. There will be no shock winner.
We have the 2 stalwarts of the competitive scene in this region, Deisik versus Voltariux. 2 players that if you're asking anyone to name just someone in the region, they'd name these 2, right? Like, and they have so much HP to work with as well. Like, both of them are above 50. This is going to be such a long and skillful 1v1. Like, there's going to be so many different things you're going to look out for here. Volta can test out positioning in terms of this Assassin Shyvana so many times over and over again.
The Wizards, you talk to us about what are you looking out for here? What are these specific changes that are going to optimize best the boards?
I mean, we're looking at a 2-star Aoshin for Deisik, right? That's going to be the biggest one here as well. I would also like to see ensuring for Deisik that the Aoshin is not going to be part of the biggest clump of the board, meaning that the Shyvana will not default also towards the Aoshin. That is a big one as well. Like, that's a massive determinant here. We kind of see like how the way these fights are going, right? Like, a 2-star Aoshin is going to be enough, most likely, to kind of swing these fights around.
And it looks like so far, it's just some saving in from Deisik. And reminder to everyone at home, Voltariux, as you could see on his bench, is just holding those Aoshins to stop Deisik from getting them. He is preventing this 2-star with the best of his ability, but Voltariux is only down to 10 gold, which means he's not going to be able to afford to buy any more of these, and at a certain point, might find it's more useful to start rolling for other units.
That's the Aoshin 2 on the bench from Volta! Like, he's just gonna hold it on the bench. That's gonna lock out Deisik for such a long while. But look at this. On the bench for Deisik, that is gonna be double Zephyr as well here, which is gonna provide yet another positioning nightmare here for Volta. And Deisik again, he's just holding the gold here. He knows he has one more life. Ideal for him, he'll win one fight here just to guarantee he can wait leveling on until stage 7.
All right, let's go face to face between the two emblems dragons taking to the skies against one another. As Winner said, we'll keep our eye out on whether that Aoshin will take the aggro early on. Actually gets chewed almost to pieces, and the bite comes in from the side to finish the job. This round won't even be close.
And this is a big thing because like the loss was sufficient enough. Oh, another Aoshin for Volta!
Oh my god! Brutal pickup there, and none found for Deisik. He has hit that level 9 mark, but is finding nothing.
Does pick up the Ornn 2 here. That's going to free up the Zephyr, which is allowing to give him a little bit more flexibility as well, right? Again, there's none of his augments here are really going to be synergizing with the items being placed here. But again, this final fight is going to be so big.
One last chance for Deisik to turn things around. Let's go.
Voltariux
on the carries.
Zephyr on the carries onto that Shyvana will not be flying free anytime soon. Watch the Aoshin in the back. 2 autos from the ultimate. Here comes the first one, but here comes the boom from Shyvana, chewing entirely through the team of Deisik. A few more autos is all it's going to take, but here comes Aoshin. Last chance, but Shyvana takes it down. One more round bought for Deisik.
Oh my lord, I thought that was done. I thought the cast was to get through the last possible second, but that's now multiple times in a row we've seen Shyvana just squeaking out the round.
Big thing to note here right as well is that Deisik could get a duplicator. Same thing could go for Volta. And duplicators do pull the units from the pool. So keep an eye out for the fact that Volta could pick up a duplicate and duplicate his Aoshin just to guarantee completely blocking it out from Deisik.
Oh boy.
Don't feel like either of these items are going to significantly change the pace of things, because to me it's coming a lot down to positioning as well. Volta final. Oh my god! He almost has 2-star Aoshins. This is brutality.
One more
we so rarely get to see
Volta finally!
Alright, this
could not deny it any longer.
This has to be the difference maker.
And again, the second Zeke's Herald coming through here is going to allow this Aoshin to cast so much quicker. This could change everything.
This is the time. This is what Deisik has been working for. Volta selling all of those hate-drafted Aoshins because the moment has arrived. The lightning, the thunder awaits. 2 casts, 1 mage emblem. Here it comes. The board is about to burn. Shyvana takes to the skies, looking for a hated opponent. Lands, but fires away from the Aoshin. And Volta now knows their doom is at hand.
We were talking about this specific thing, like Volta did everything in his he could to try to avoid this specific situation coming up now. He was even like trying to delay the 3-star Sire spike for such a long time as well, completely denying it just because the 2-star Aoshin spike would be much more impactful. Like, this is like an incredible display of like how you can play out late games in TFT.
Volta does have some time left to try and find something, but I don't know what you even build at this point.
No, it seems like it could be in line for more of the same. Deisik will take the same setup again. Let's see if it works this time as Shyvana goes right onto the backline.
No Zephyr available to stop the Shyvana this time. She dives forward, finds the Flame Breath, but it's not going to land onto Ao Shin. He finds his first ultimate uncontested, but look at the rest of his team falling down. Shyvana just needs to make it burn, but cannot, as Voltariux takes yet another loss.
We are in stage 7.
We're in stage 7 for you. 1v1 going on since like stage 6-5, but this has been a wild way to end the entire competitive circuit, man. Like, it's undescribable to a certain extent, right? Like, all of the things now that you're looking out for here, if you are going to be Deisik, right, you're looking out for potential replacement bars, so you could, change up the set for positioning, but he's going to be trying to stay on top of that by his own movements here as well.
All right, we'll see if Volta can find a way to reconfigure that board to deal with that dastardly Ao Shin. As actually said before, Ao Shin being kept away from the rest of the squad, trying to keep that Shyvana from reaching with the flames. The rest of the comp just doesn't matter. They are the meat shield for the meat grinder. Deisik casting out again and again. Volta will take the L. Nothing's changed.
Another carousel, though. We're looking at Cephas, we're looking at Shrouds, none of them are here.
It feels like there's nothing to save Voltariux at this point. Wonder what he's going to look for. He was looking for the Infinity Edge, denied by Deisik. Instead going to settle for that blue buff.
This is wild, man.
Oh, boy.
And the IE as well has an impact for Deisik because he does have that dual Lotus here, so any unit on his board that does any sort of damage here, he's going to try to replace the Rise here, finds the Zoe 2 alongside, and that's such a huge upgrade as well!
Oh my god, those lasers are gonna be obscene! No, it's not gonna be! So instead going for the rapid fire, Zoe. This is going to be the end of the Superbrawl, one way or the other. Deisik already qualified against Volta. Let's see who's got what it takes.
Zephyrs come through. It only lands onto the Swain. Into the backline goes the Shyvana. The Pike looking for an angle onto the Ao Shin. Takes down the Zoe. Gets stunned up though. Autoing down onto the Ao Shin. But it's not going to be enough. 1 ultimate. 2, 3. Not onto the Ao Shin though. Uncontested. And Deisik will be your Superbrawl champion.
You couldn't have asked for a better end to the final round of competition. We ran it all the way as far as we could go, all the way through